Let's talk about brittle star reproduction. It's actually extremely interesting. One of my followers had asked me about how brittle stars reproduce because I had mentioned that that hole on the back of their body, on the bottom side of them, is for both waste and for eating. So just one hole for the both. So how do they reproduce? There are a few ways how brittle stars can reproduce, and they're all quite interesting. The first, which is not quite as common, is cloning. They are actually able to fissure and split into two separate halves, and then those two halves, due to their great regenerative capabilities, would be able to grow the other half and grow those arms back. And so that is one major way, and I definitely can't do that. That's very interesting. And then the main way how they reproduce is that they would all go to one common area, hundreds and hundreds of brittle stars, and they would all kind of broadcast their reproductive fluids into the water. And so we think commonly of animals carrying their young, kind of like we do, kind of like kangaroos do, in their little pouches. But that's actually not the case with brittle stars. The young typically are never carried by the brittle stars. They're typically just within the water, all those little zygotes. And honestly, most of them do not survive due to predation. People like to, or not people, but animals like to eat those little things within the water. And so a lot of them are eaten up before adolescence. But the ones that do make it will go through this same cycle. They will release that fluid from slits near their armpits. And so those slits will be filled with fluid, and then they will kind of stand up and give it a little shake, and that fluid will spill out into the water. And then they, would have male and female fluids within the water, and those would be able to connect and make some zygotes of little baby brittle stars. So thanks so much for watching. Bye bye. Legs, and in those slits they can hold their